Thank you very much for the opportunity to present here. I work at the Swiss Federal Office for Environment, and I look at how financial portfolios can be aligned with that biodiversity goals. I want to show you very concrete steps how we can reach this goal. There are already tools and strategies for the implementation today. With the adoption of the Global Biodiversity Framework in 2020, the world has committed to halting and reversing biodiversity loss by 2030. So halting and reversing. Financial institutions have a key role to play here, because the GBF explicitly calls on large companies to regularly monitor, assess, and transparently disclose risks, dependencies, and impacts on biodiversity. A key point is that they're called upon to align financial flows with nature-positive activities. According to the World Economic Forum, there is a business opportunity in the nature positive transformation worth 10 trillion annually, and it could create 400 million jobs. So the transformation is connected to loads of opportunities and added value. Aligning financial portfolios with biodiversity goals is complex, that's clear. Contrary to popular belief, the biggest challenge is not a lack of data. We already have enormous amounts of data about biodiversity from satellites, field studies, and global assessments. What is lacking is nature intelligence, which means what do we do with the data? We need to classify, interpret the data, recognize their significance, and translate them into concrete financial decisions, which contribute to the transformation of companies. In light of these challenges, we need a clear framework for action. I will outline now the most important areas for action below. The first step is to identify the areas in which the portfolio plays a role, in which areas of nature. The double materiality should be considered. So, how does nature influence the portfolio, and how does the portfolio influence nature? Tools such as the LEAP approach of TNFD and the Encore platform can help us make this dual materiality visible. In the background of the slide, you can see the visualization of dependencies of ecosystems in mining, which is visualized with the Encore tool. This is a diagnostic process, and it is a basis for setting priorities and taking targeted measures. And the second step, clear targets are set for the portfolio. The mitigation hierarchy needs to be considered, and it can structure the targets accordingly. The mitigation hierarchy says first we need to avoid negative impacts on nature, and then we need to minimize them, restore them, and the last resort would be compensate for them. As well, we assess the company's readiness for transformation. Do they have credible strategies? Do they need support? We've got the Science-Based Targets Network that helps us set measurable targets. It's scientific methods that define the targets, and it helps us to define the transformation pathways. If we have identified the willingness to transform among the companies, it's important to actively involve them and provide financing. That's the engagement. This means we use loans, bonds, equity investments to support companies in this transition. The TNFD describes 4 key strategies: ending harmful activities, transforming existing business models, and developing new nature-positive business areas. So these are the new markets we can develop. And financing, supporting systems with diversity monitoring, for example. So this enables us to act nature-friendlier. In addition to supporting individual companies, we must redirect capital specifically toward nature-positive activities. This includes investments in regenerative agriculture, ecosystem restoration, nature-based solutions. It's a good term, and regenerative models. We use platforms for nature-based solutions and guidelines on biodiversity credits that provide us important standards and guidance. Why are such investments crucial? They need to be scalable, so these nature-positive activities need to be scalable, and it need to be embedded into the mainstream investments in a permanent way. While capital flows are being redirected, it is equally important to embed biodiversity in risk management and reporting. We've heard that already. This means anchoring nature-related risks in governance structures and aligning disclosures with frameworks such as TNFD and in future also ISSB. That also includes biodiversity standards in the future. These frameworks ensure that biodiversity risks are systematically identified and disclosed. And very importantly, they also improve the quality of data. Lastly, biodiversity strategy must be dynamic. Setting targets is only the beginning. We need to monitor the nature which develops, which keeps developing. So we need to monitor nature-related KPIs, evaluate the effectiveness of financing measures, and respond accordingly. Here we have the guidelines by the TNFD and target frameworks such as GBF and SBTN. There is a strong growth in demand for nature-related data and investment strategies. And in the future, we need to align the focus on nature intelligence. So the data need to be translated into measures. We need additional finance instruments, and we need to scale activities. Lastly, I'd like to add we need transformation pathways for biodiversity. We have frameworks, what these pathways could look like, but we don't have any sectoral pathways that define clearly what should or could happen when. And with this, I have reached the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.